What's going on, guys? I'm Tyler, and in continuing my series of Disney movie reviews, I'm here to let you know that Lady and the Tramp is no perfect movie. And it follows a young house dog named Lady, played by Barbara Luddy, whose life with her owners is changed once they have a child. And life at one point gets so frustrating for her that she spends a day with this stray mutt known only as the Tramp, played by Larry Roberts. And as the two of them fall in love, they quickly begin to question each other's ideas of what it really means to have a home. Now, watching this movie a couple days ago in preparation for this was weird. I had seen this movie so many times as a kid, I thought, I'm gonna have a great time with this one. And as I was watching, I sat there, I'm like, this is good, but I feel like I'm missing something here. And I spent the rest of the day thinking about it, and certain things started to pop into my head where just like, wait, I didn't notice that before, and I didn't even notice that a couple hours ago. That's good. I like that. And as I kept thinking of stuff, I realized I need to watch this again just to see if it clicks with me. So, about a couple hours ago, before I even made this video, I rewatched it, and I'm happy to say it clicked with me again. And rewatching especially helped me understand the romance between Lady and the Tramp more so than I ever had before, because yesterday I had a hard time describing the romance just to myself, but upon rewatching it today, I realized just how similar of a house pets versus stray animals class metaphor that Disney has used with movies like The Aristocats, Oliver and Company, and so on and so forth. But what makes it work so much better in this movie was you actually get to feel the connection between Lady and her owners. Barbara Luddy, as a voice actor, did a really good job at giving the character the sense of innocence and unwavering loyalty towards her owners. And the fact that we see the movie from her perspective on the ground, rarely ever seeing her owners' faces, just their feet and sometimes their hands, it's just as surprising to us as it is to her whenever they change from being constantly happy to venting their frustrations about having a kid onto Lady. But we as an audience know that's just how people deal with stress. They don't mean to do any harm, but they do sometimes. And it's when they go back to the more tender moments that make you realize that's just a way of life. The relationship between Lady and this child is more of a sibling rivalry sort of thing, where at first it's just nothing but fear and a little bit of anger, but once the baby comes, it just goes back to unwavering loyalty and love, and that was something that I really appreciated. You don't need a three act structure over the course of the movie to convey the thoughts of sibling rivalry on screen. And that's the thing, even when life gets really tough for her, and this is something that I never understand when people sum up the movie in a synopsis or a review. She's not a pampered or spoiled pet like people make her out to be. She can be disobedient, she can be wild and crazy and energetic. And when she disobeys or goes out of line, she's disciplined for it. She's just fortunate enough to come from a loving and supportive family. A family that she finds really hard to leave once she falls in love with Tramp. And Tramp, despite the fact that he values his independence over a lot of things, doesn't really hate humans. He knows that he needs them to survive. He mooches off of families and businesses on a regular basis. And it's nice to see a character who's independent but realizes he does need support from people all the time. And it's just that fear of commitment that he has towards going to a permanent home, where he's afraid of the fact that his owners might possibly fall out of love with him when they have kids of their own. And it's implied deeply that that's an experience that he's had in the past over and over again. And unfortunately, that commitment does come from whether or not he wants to stay with ladies, to the point where he tries over and over again to see what the perks of his life are like and to stay with him. It's not until what should have been the climax anyways of the movie, where he has to go into Lady's house in order to do something for her, that he realizes that a permanent home might be a life that can suit him and a life that can treat him well. I find it weird that I'm spending this much time talking about a Disney romance, but it really goes to show how well fleshed out the characters are and how well they go together as a couple, and some of the things that make it harder for them to keep the relationship going. That's more than I can say for a lot of Disney romances. And as an adult, I forgot just how much joy the songs brought to me, to the point where I felt like I was a kid again. Except for the Siamese Cat song, racist or not, I never liked those little shits. But He's a Tramp had this really upbeat and catchy jazzy rhythm to it, and Peggy Lee did such a good job singing the song, as well as writing like 6 of the songs. She has like the most credit when it comes to the music of this movie, especially, of course, the Bella Nade sequence. That still brings a huge smile to my face. The music is so well composed. The actor who plays Tony sings with such passion in the moment, and the choir that sings after him makes you really feel the romantic connection between the two of them as they're going through this lovey-dovey montage that you see in a lot of romance movies. But the music and the way the shots are put together, you genuinely buy the fact that even though they've only spent a day together, they're in love. My only real problem with the movie stems from the characters of Jock and Trusty. I honestly have no idea why they're even in this movie. The conversations that they have with Lady are really just there to explain the plot, and considering Tramp comes in anyways to explain what having kids might do to her and how her owners might treat her differently, you honestly could have had that scene between the two of them and it would have set up the conflict right away without any stock characters that are just there to make the same joke over and over again, because that's another problem. Trusty just makes the same joke over and over again, and it wasn't even funny the first time. And the two of them having this arc around learning to trust Tramp is so poorly done, and the fact that it's the official climax of the movie instead of what I said earlier should have been, it just made the end of the movie seem less effective than it could have been. But outside of that, I really didn't have that big of a problem with Lady and the Tramp. It's a simple story with very little plot, but it has a romance where I bought the chemistry. I believe that the conflicts between the two of them were real, and I can barely say that about most romance movies in general, let alone a Disney romance movie. And for those reasons, I'm going to give Lady and the Tramp a 4 out of 5. Guys, thanks as always for watching. If you've seen Lady and the Tramp, let me know in the comments below what you thought of it. Be sure to stay tuned for more Disney reviews, and be sure to like and subscribe. Take care.